What are you thinking about, Steve? Going out the door? T-Rex, we know what you're thinking about, right? 1, 2, 3, go! Well, what do you know? We don't have to fight the sound of wind. I'm not wearing my noise-canceling wireless, so we can hear all the natural sound of the birds and the crunchy underfoot. Oh, I do have a plaid outfit for T-Rex, by the way. All right, let's close the door. There's so many things to talk about. I want to talk about all the interesting, mysterious phenomena going on with the tide and the moon and the sun and the temperature inversion this morning. Hey, let's start with the ice bucket. How's it doing? Pick up the ice bucket. Oh, yeah, it's solid. How thick is the ice in your backyard? Steve in Shrewsbury, where it was 11 degrees when I looked at your web camera this morning, right after I watched the Moonset. That ice looks pretty black. It's probably, what, 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick? Maybe you can stand on it, but you don't feel safe yet. I don't know. Maybe it's safe. What do you think? So there's an inversion this morning. It's a temperature when it decouples, but interesting. The atmosphere decoupled last evening. I went calm, and then when I got home last night, it was actually windy at midnight, and that was because I don't know why that happened, but it kept me warmer than everyone else this morning. I got up to look at the moon and look at my temperature sensors, and that temperature sensor, indoors, I didn't even show you. It's 24 degrees right now at about 9:45 a.m., but my temperature sensor was wrong. It was 34, so I was changing batteries, and I came out here, and this one said about 17, and that says 24, so the temperature's up 7 degrees in the last 3 hours, which makes sense. So what were we doing this morning? I looked at the moon, and I was, wow, beautiful moon, while I was looking at my thermometer. I came outside, and I made a little tape of the moon, and there was more windy then, and I was kind of curious. I was like, why is this windy? And why is the moon so far north? And at the same time I was making my video of the moon, so was Carl Weller. I know I have a good view, but Carl, oh my goodness, look at this view. You can see the whole mountain. He says, it is just gorgeous this morning. And he pointed out the moon was setting right over Mount Mansfield. And I said, did you notice how far north it is? And we actually talked for a minute. And he said, yeah, that's right. That's as far north as the sun sets in the middle of summer. Well, at the solstice in June. And here we are at a solstice in December, a week away. And this morning was the full moon at 4 a.m. And why it's so far north? I had to do a lot of research this morning. It's one of the reasons I'm out late. Is called a lunar standstill. Apparently there's a wave that I was unaware of. You always learn new things, no matter how old you are, just stay curious. Where the tilt of the moon and the tilt of the earth are at different extremes. And this is an 18.6 year cycle. The last time we had this moon setting and rising so far north was 2006. Thank you, space.com, for enlightening me on that. You can go and research that. So that's the moon. And it was gorgeous last night. So high in the sky, too, next to Jupiter and all the other planets. Now we have, I didn't even look at the satellite imagery, but we have some high clouds increasing. There's a weather system crossing the nation. It produced a good amount of snow in Utah, but it's been weakening ever since. But there are winter weather advisories in effect in Connecticut for tonight and tomorrow, as it's a warm front coming at us, and we are going to warm up. I show the temperature map this morning. It was about 9 below at Tupper Lake there in the northern Adirondacks in New York. So we did have sub-zero, and in the Boston area, low 20s because it was still windy, even though Pilot Pete in Lancaster, Massachusetts, was 6 degrees this morning. We already saw Shrewsbury was 11 anyway. And where's the warmest air? Yeah, the inversion. Where is the warmest air? All right, so I got this web cam image off the Mount Washington site at the top of Wildcat, looking over at Mount Washington. It doesn't look like they've had 55 inches in the last 3 weeks, does it? But they have. And these people posing for pictures and selfies and all that, they are standing in some of the warmest air in New England earlier in the day today. Here's the Mount Washington Auto Road temperature profile. And look where it's the warmest. 31 degrees at 4,300 feet. 6 degrees at the base. And very little wind, almost calm. So riding... So Carl said this morning it was 2 degrees when he passed Top Notch. It was 7 at the bottom of the Forerunner. And the top of the Forerunner, now I'm talking Mount Mansfield, going from New Hampshire's tallest mountain to Vermont's tallest mountain, was probably the warmest spot in all of Stowe, Vermont, probably in the low 20s. That's what happens in an inversion. And you can see the emissions down below, and I can see some of that on my horizon. But I'm wearing my ski gloves, and I'm not going to take them off to try and zoom in for you. Oh, there goes a cardinal. Oh, nature tempting me. I wanted to zoom in on that cardinal. This one is, I call it Not in a Hurry Sunday, and I hope you're not in a hurry trying to watch this video because it's long, and there's a lot of weather coming. You want to start on the other side of the world? Well, not quite the other side of the world, but usually our weather comes from west to east. And I know it comes from east to west also. We got to watch our back from every corner. T-Rex, what are you looking at? T-Rex is all excited. No, we're not going in yet. The Pacific Ocean. Look, I saw that there was coastal flood statements happening in Hawaii. I'm always looking all over the place. And I found this map, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Dual hurricane force storms in the Pacific Ocean. The one on the left is down around 937 millibars. Ridiculous low pressure, as low there or more extreme than it is high here. And these storms are going to send waves of energy across the northern hemisphere, across North America toward Europe over the next 2 weeks, heading through Christmas and into New Year's. That one in the upper left there, just barely shows on the satellite, that's the storm that's going to kind of bend and kind of stall south of Alaska, but it's going to send a front across the Pacific into the United States. That's late in the week. And the one to the right, to the east, that one's going to send a front across. And we're going to have energy centers coming through New England once every 36 hours for the foreseeable future. I'm going to do a timeout to put Rex in. This is not part of the plan, but it's a good thing it's not in a hurry Sunday. So you get to go in. And now what? Is mommy making breakfast? Okay, see ya. Sorry about that. It's one take, and we treat it like a live television show. We just keep on going. That's where I, spent most of my career, live television, and you just keep on going. Steve. All right, I hear some noise. I want to find out what it is. Take off my glove and zoom in. This is the workboat that just keeps on working, no matter the season. You can hear them coming miles away. I think it's a lobster fisherman. Where were we? Pacific Ocean. Storms crossing the nation. Is it going to be a white Christmas in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts? I think the odds are increasing a little bit. Let's go to first the 15-day for Shrewsbury. I talked about weather systems crossing every few days. Tonight, there's going to be a little bit of rain or snow, mostly in western New England, drying up. And that's leading edge of warmer air that comes in Tuesday. Rain showers at night will have gone away. It's a mild, pleasant Tuesday. And then comes another front on Tuesday night into Wednesday. It's getting colder. And then it shows rain on Thursday into Friday, and then another system with possible just snow next Saturday. So I'll show you the reasoning on all this, and the bottom line is I have increased the odds now. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I said 50-50 for snow, white Christmas for Shrewsbury. Yesterday I said 55 to 45 in favor. Well, now I'm going to change it to 60% probability, in my opinion, of a white Christmas in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Points north, the odds increase. Points east, like here in Boston, and south to Cape Cod, odds decrease. I'll try and focus more on that as we get closer. You know how obsessed I am with waves, so now I'm probably going to have to show you when those waves arrive right down here where there's a tiny bit of slushy ice there. Let's go to the Euro and see if we can do that before the waves arrive at the shore. It's a little race. Here it is from Pivotal Weather. There's our 1050 millibar high pressure system moving out, a little weakening shortwave coming in and then bouncing off to the south and east and dissipating. And then tomorrow night, low goes to our north. Period of rain should be fewer than 4 hours. Maybe it's just a shower, maybe it's a steady rain. It's gone on Tuesday morning. In its wake, it's going to be warmer air here, colder aloft, low barometer cold. Could be some upslope snow showers trying to develop in the mountains. And then here comes another one. It's coming in. The trough is deepening over the Great Lakes. We're tapping the Gulf of Mexico with a little moisture, and all of a sudden, similar to most of the last few days' guidance, Wednesday night, 10 p.m., here it is, about 1,010 millibar low with purple over Shrewsbury. That indicates the Euro thinking it's a mix, a wintry mix. Rain, sleet, and possible snow. This is a fast mover. It's not a very big deal, but it could leave a lot of central and northern New England with white ground on Thursday morning. That goes away, put it back in motion. Wait, racing these waves. And here comes a serious blast of Arctic air into southern Canada and one of those systems off the Pacific coming to the east coast. And it looks like it's a little further south and a little colder than yesterday's guidance, coming right in on Friday night. And I'm going to pause it there. On Friday night, there is a winter storm over New England. Now we're going to look at these waves for a moment because I'm obsessed with waves and birds. And now I have the 2 male eider riding over these waves. How fun is that? As the waves come ashore, glad I'm not wearing my noise canceling microphone today. Look at the waves reflecting and refracting. The reflection is the wave bouncing off the rock and going back out. The refraction is the wave bending around the end of the groin in those ripples. Khalil Gibran says, I learned the secrets of the ocean by studying a dewdrop. Sleepy. You're feeling very sleepy. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to put you to sleep yet. Just enjoying the scenery here on this very cold Sunday morning where my fingers came out of my glove just so I could do some zooming and panning there. I'm putting my fingers back in my glove, putting it back on one-time zoom, and going back to that forecast of next weekend's possible major snowstorm in the Northeast. Yes, indeed. Let's go a few more hours past that Friday night, and now the cold air is coming all the way to the south coast. Rain, if it does happen, could end as snow as an Arctic plunge occurs next Saturday. And look at that. There's another 1050 high stopping at Saturday afternoon. 1050 high in central Canada is much more common than a 1050 high in New England. And the low pressure system, which was 997, is now down to 977. So that's a potential bombogenesis with a 1050 high. What is that? 50 plus 23. That's an 83 millibar gradient. That is wind. And I'm not going to say blizzard. I mean, I'm not going to use the B word, but the stage is set. The ingredients are there. Wow. Had that bottled up in me for about 4 hours. I've been watching it this morning. All right, so then that keeps on moving. A lot of New England is left with white ground next Sunday morning, maybe even the south coast. And that kind of cold, if we can get the wind to come from the northeast, Cape Cod gets its own Cape Cod frost, as my dad would say, next Sunday morning. That would be ocean effect cloud and snow. And then that high comes, that 1050 weakens a little bit and comes right over us. And we're going to stop it at 240 hours, as we always do, on day 10, because the forecast is already hard enough. You cannot get past 10 days. And that would be Tuesday, December 23rd, December 24th at 7 p.m., Christmas Eve. And that would be cold and dry high right over us. And there's another low down there in Oklahoma. And it looks like a lot of warmer air crossing the nation. Usually when these Pacific storms push across, they pull warmth with them too. And I think we will have used up the cold in Canada. So a warming trend would be forecast for Christmas, and it would probably still be dry if all of this verifies. And by the way, the confidence is a little higher than usual for that next weekend storm because it's been in the guidance for some time, and all the guidance has it. I didn't check the GFS. The GFS had been warmer. Maybe it can turn colder, but I'm not going to look at that until the short range. Steve looking so cute here. One other thing I wanted to talk about before, well, I think that's done. The weather forecasting part is done. Aren't you dismissed? But Jay is on Martha's Vineyard, and Jay put this in a post this morning. He says, incredibly low tides, some of the lowest tide I've ever seen here on the vineyard, and that makes sense, Jay, with the 1040 millibar high, 1050 millibar high. Think opposite of a hurricane. You know, in a hurricane, the very low pressure creates those storm surges. And so the very high pressure, that's more force pushing down on the water. So it makes sense that you get very low tides. And we've had them here also. So we're getting very low tides with the alignment of the moon and the sun. The astronomical high and low tides happen when you have the full moon and the new moon, but we're not getting the high tides, we're getting the low tides, and that makes sense with that pressure. Now next weekend we're between moons, so it's not going to be extreme tide, but with that kind of pressure gradient we may see some coastal shenanigans next weekend. Are we done with this? Are you obsessed with all the observations of what's happening in the sky? I'm obsessed with the sky also, and it seems like most of those sightings are airplanes, a natural phenomenon. And what is that line? Oh my goodness, Tim, look at that. The government is spraying. No, it's not. It's a condensation trail. It's a natural phenomenon due to the pressure gradient with the low pressure being created by the thrust of the airplane, and high pressure on the bottom of the wing, low pressure on the top of the wing causes expansion, cooling, and condensation if there's enough moisture available. And that is an indication of new, warmer, more moist air riding over the top of the colder air, and it's all natural. Although you could credit anthropogenic due to the fact that we have planes up there. And there goes another one right there. However, it has to do with the moisture and stability at upper levels of the atmosphere. And I'm not even going to comment on all those other sightings, supposedly, across New Jersey. I'm intrigued, and I will research it further and get back to you if anything seems unusual to me. That brown layer on the ground right there, that's an emission layer caught in the inversion. So just making observations here. That is anthropogenic, that is pollution, but we've done a really good job cleaning up what comes out of the tailpipes and the smokestacks over the last 50 years. The air is a lot cleaner. All right, that's it. The Enmore yesterday, I did end up going to Plymouth, but I didn't bring my camera, so I didn't get that park with all the lights in Plymouth, but I did see the moon and Jupiter, and so I'm going to leave it with just some observations and a walk with T-Rex on this Not in a Hurry Sunday. Come for a walk with me and T-Rex, one of the longer videos, a lot of information here, and some sights and sounds of the birds from yesterday. And really interesting that the air went calm as the sun went down, then the wind picked back up again in the middle of the night. Always something to talk about. All right, we'll see you again in 24 hours. The odds increasing for a white Christmas here in the Northeast. Talk to you later. Get some passive solar. Steve's been out here by himself. Yeah, laying in the sun. Now T-Rex and I are going to go for a walk, but first I want to look in the backyard at what kind of birds they are. They look like sparrows. The air has gone calm in the middle of the day. Usually it's the opposite with the mixing of the sunshine, but nope, we have the high pressure system coming right over us. About a 1050 millibar high. How pretty. And where are our ducks? Where are our ducks? Just on the edge of the disturbed water right there. Thank you, Dave, for pointing out these are common eiders. think they're a bird that spends part of the year up toward the Arctic Circle and then comes south, but not that far south for the winter. Hey, birdies. I like these quiet, low sun winter afternoons. Go for a walk or a hike or whatever you want to call it. Talked about water coming out of the hill. It's frosty here, 1:30 in the afternoon. The frost just doesn't melt. The sun doesn't hit it. Sometimes we come up here and we find deer, turkeys, other birds. Today, it's kind of quiet. There's a robin. There's a cardinal. I just heard something that was not a cardinal, though. Really weird noise. Do it again. Blue jay. Blue jay sounding the alarm about something, but I don't know what. Almost looks like snow in here, huh? Does it count as a white Christmas? No, it does not. Good boy, Rex. He's a good boy. Always gotta look up. Never know what you're gonna see. Almost calm. It's called decoupling. When the sun goes down, the wind aloft decouples from the more dense, colder air down low. And it turns really flat and still. Great for Ida duck tracking. Thank you, Dave, for the ID. Hopefully they're closer in the morning. There's one that just popped up. Who's that? Saying hello. Hello. I know. Just saying hello. So I want to go look at the backup skating rink ice bucket right here. How thick is your ice? Look at this. So there is still some water under there. It looks like it's about 2 inches thick. I got another one over here. And it looks like it's solid ice. And then this one, the one with the spring. And I think she's solid. So I'm not sure how much more. Driving south, maybe some Christmas lights from Plymouth, or maybe this is it. If you hear the piano right now, this is it.
Hold on, I'm gonna look up here. Look at that. Yeah. Good job. Okay, remember you gotta do the herringbone. What? Turn your feet like this. That's it. Look at that. Good job. Wow, and look at this awesome view we have.
am never doing that again.
Oh, you're so good at it.
I fell.
It's all right. Falling's part of cross country. Here comes Chansey. Look at that beautiful sunlight. Go ahead, right by me.
Whee!
Good. Very good.
What are you staring at? All right, this is how we're gonna play it out. The very low tide here. When there's a full or a new moon, your low tide is at dinner time and breakfast. And your high tide is at midnight and midday. How pretty is the reflection of sunlight off of the homes in Fort Point in Weymouth, just below the 99% full cold moon. This one is a good sleep aid. Little crow action. Sleepy. Uh-oh, Rex is gonna wake up. What's that, Rex? There you go. I know. You can't catch him though, can you? So much for helping you sleep. T-Rex, you're not helping him sleep, you know. Get him. Get him. Come on, Rex. Get him. They're just up there in the sky, that's all. Good try. Okay. One more glimpse of the moon. Try this again. Sleepy. You're getting sleepy. Later that same night, we did actually end up going south to Plymouth. And there is the Lobster Pot Pyramid and the moon and Jupiter. And another planet to the right of Jupiter. Not sure what that one is.